What do you do, bedtime crew? I saw one video from bedtime MMA, so I found that really funny. Um, what up, my people? Ladies and slugfesters, welcome to another edition of the breakdown. Um, yeah, I apologize. I'm a few minutes late. I think about 3 minutes late, but we're here now. Let's break these fights down. Hopefully, I can provide insight. Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting flu. Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. A fight that was supposed to happen at UFC 311, um, but didn't happen because Ilya Tupor, what's his name? Aman Sarukian actually ended up pulling out. Um, and then Renato Moicano ended up fighting. What do you call him? Um, Islam Makhachev, right? So who do I think wins this one? This is a little bit tricky because I don't think either of them have an age advantage. Renato Moicano is 36. Beneil Dariush is also 36. Oh no. My boss is calling me. I need to. Okay, I'll answer him when I can. So Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I apologize about that. I'll call him back. Um, so I don't know, man. I just feel like Beneil Dariush has a more polished striking. However, Renato Moicano is a little bit better, is a little bit more aggressive. As far as level of competition, obviously Beneil Dariush, I feel like has reached the highest level of the division without actually getting a title shot, which I think is a travesty. I feel like he should have gotten. Okay, let me answer it, guys. I'm sorry. I'll be back. Please give me 2 minutes. Um, oof. I apologize. I'm back, guys. I'm sure a lot of people came into the stream and left. So yeah, Renato Moicano versus Shoshat McGee left a message. Moicano is so much faster on the feet. The Iranian fights like he is underwater, but it's so damn tough. Okay, I was running. So I agree with you, Shoshat McGee. I genuinely feel like Renato Moicano is a little bit faster. He's going to have the reach advantage. I think he's going to be a little bit better. I think overall, I feel like Beneil Dariush has been declining a little bit over the past couple of months or even over the past year. Obviously, Shoshot McGee, if Moicano doesn't get the chinned, he should win via decision. Yeah, or even I don't know. I wanted to say decision, but let me not even go there. I mean, none of them have the reach advantage in this particular fight. Finishing ability, I mean, more or less the same is the same in this particular situation. Beneil Dariush has a 59% finishing rate, and Renato Moicano has a 60% finishing rate, so more or less the same. As far as striking abilities, although Moicano has a decent volume, I mean, it's not too far off from Beneil Dariush, but obviously Moicano has the volume. Beneil Dariush is better defensively. Technical striking abilities, it's hard to say. As far as technique, it's hard to say. But because Renato Moicano has been improving, but if you were to ask me, at some point, at some point, I genuinely felt like Beneil Dariush would have been able to beat Charles Oliveira. However, it feels like he fought the Charles Oliveira towards the end of his or rather towards the end of his prime, and it didn't work out for him. It's honestly pretty sad for Beneil Darius to have not gotten a title shot because I genuinely felt like he actually deserved it. But that's either nor here nor there. As far as technical striking abilities, I don't know. It's pretty close. I'd give a slight advantage to Beneil Dariush, purely because I feel like he's faced a lot more talented strikers. I know I know Moicano has faced like people like Jilton Almeida. However, Jilton Almeida was lost purely because of low IQ, not necessarily because of technical striking abilities. So yeah, I don't feel like Renato Moicano has the best striking. I mean, he has improved. I will give him that, but I wouldn't go as far as saying like he's a technical striker. Even of the two, I think Beneil Dariush might have better hands. However, like Shoshot McGee said, I would assume that Renato Moicano is going to be a little bit faster. And when you consider the level of competition that Renato Moicano has been fighting in his last, I don't know, 3, 4 fights, it's been pretty good the competition. Even though I know Beneil Dariush recently just lost to Charles Oliveira. Before that, he lost to Aman Sarukian. Okay, let me not. Okay, but my point is, in comparison to Beneil Dariush, I feel like Renato Moicano has been beating pretty decent competition in Jalen Turner and Benoit Saint Dennis. But Benoit Saint Dennis at this point, it feels like he's. Someone said he looks like he's fighting underwater. I think it's Shoshot McGee. I think Beneil Dari, but what do you call him? Benoit Saint Dennis feels like he's fighting underwater. He is so slow. Like I don't know. It's so significantly different that the contrast is incredible. Before fighting Dustin Poirier, he looked a bit different, and now he looks like he is in slow motion whenever he's fighting, which is honestly kind of sad. But I'm trailing off. But yeah, this is gonna be a very tricky fight. And then on the ground, obviously both of them have decent grappling abilities. Both of them have good takedown defense. I think this is one of the most closely matched fights on the card, to be honest. I would have thought that Moicano would have the age advantage, but both of them are pretty much 36. And even though I don't like Dariush's long layoff, um, I feel like it might be better for him because obviously he got knocked out, if I'm not mistaken, when he fought, what do you call him? Aman Sarukian. So obviously he needed, and especially going back to back knockouts, like getting knocked out by Charles Oliveira, then getting knocked out by Aman Sarukian, it's not necessarily good. So I get why he took the time to actually recover. But at the same time, whoever is a little bit more active will most likely have a bit of an edge, especially in such a closely matched fight. But we can't take it. We can't ignore the fact that what do you call him? Uh, I don't know. I just feel like Aman Sarukian. I mean, the Beneil Dariush has been fighting exceptional competition. Even though he lost, I don't know, man. This is going to be a very tough fight on the feet and on the ground. But let me give my analysis. Obviously, my subscribers and I are picking Renato Moicano purely because, for me personally, I can't speak for my subscribers, but for me personally, I value the activity, right? In such a closely matched fight, normally I would go with experience, but in this particular situation, experience is not going to be such a huge factor, considering Renato Moicano just recently fought Islam Makhachev, and even though I'm a massive fan of Islam Makhachev, it looked a bit dicey on the feet. Yeah, I know Islam Makhachev would have won, but Renato Moicano actually made it look a bit slightly competitive. Not very competitive. Do not get me wrong, guys. Just look at that fight. Even though he got submitted and everything, there was a moment where I was like, "Wow, okay, it looks like he's doing good." Granted, it's the first round, so obviously he's going to do better. To everyone who's sending messages, I'm going to finish. I just want to finish that. I'm breaking down the fight, and then I'll respond to every single message that you sent me in the comments. Just stay long enough for me to actually respond to them. So yeah, in that particular fight, I felt like Renato Moicano looked good, whereas Beneil Dariush didn't look as great against Aman Sarukian. So, in all honesty, I'm going off of that. So level of competition for me, even though I feel like Beneil Dariush has been facing higher level of competition, it's not necessarily um, like going to give him that much of an advantage. I feel like I'm going to lean more towards activity as opposed to experience. Um, both of them can grapple. Both of them are pretty basic at striking, but I'm leaning more towards Beneil Dariush. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Dariush finds a way to actually get the upset here. So I wouldn't blame anyone who decided they want to pick Beneil Dariush, but I just like Renato Moicano's activity. I like Renato Moicano's speed. I like his recent performances, even though I don't feel like he's been beating the best guys. But he's been beating ranked guys, and that's what's important. You know, when he beat Jalen Turner, he was ranked. When he beat Benoit Saint Dennis, he was ranked. Like he's been putting together a pretty decent resume. I don't think he will ever become a champion, but I feel like he is pretty solid. Combined with the activity, I think he might actually find a way to get it done. Let me respond to you guys so that I can go to the next fight. Um, Short McGee, like Short McGee, to all my day one subscribers. I just remember there's two other people who are constantly on my watch alongs, on my community section, on my shorts. When the channel gets monetized, I owe you this, right? I know your names. I'm going to give you guys a free membership. Not all, but maybe 10 of you or 5 of you. but so far I can remember like around 5 people that I see on every single thing that I do. So I just as a start, obviously I anticipate I'm going to have a lot of members in future, but just to say thank you guys, because you guys are basically pushing the channel forward. Your presence in these lives. So I've decided to actually, that's me saying thank you to the people who've actually, the small number of people that have been like the on every single part of the channel, like they're there. So whenever I get monetized and the things that I'm going to be doing in the member section, I think I'll give you guys free membership. Please remind me whenever I say I'm monetized. Remind me to do that. Um, Shoshot McGee. Um, they both good on the ground and will play out on the feed. Okay, it's gonna be interesting because it's hard to say who's going to have the edge. Even though I know I said Beneil Dariush is going to be a little bit better technically, I still feel like Renato Moicano is pretty decent as well, and he's been improving seemingly. So I guess we'll see. Um, and unlike Beneil Dariush, Renato Moicano has not been knocked out in recent time. Obviously, he was submitted, but he hadn't been knocked out. You know, and the self confidence and the belief that Renato Moicano has in himself, I think that's going to play a significant role in how this fight plays out. I feel like Renato Moicano still has the delusion of becoming a champion, and he's going to train like that. Whereas Beneil Dariush, I don't know if he still believes that. I think for him, he's just trying to see if he still belongs. Um, Shot McGee, but Moicano opened his own gym, and that's a sign they are checked out. Yeah, that's true. Um, Dave Till, Kayla Harrison versus Brock Lesnar prediction. That's crazy. Shoshat McGee, I bet Moicano, but worried he just wants a paycheck. I don't know, man. It seems like he earned a lot of money fighting Islam Makhachev. Like, after that, he went from Moicano wants money to just I don't know. I feel like they paid him well in the UFC. So like I think he's sorted now. Um, I don't know if he's fighting for money, and I like his breakdowns and his analysis. It shows that he actually thinks like his fight IQ is pretty decent, which makes me think he's going to be better at game planning. Even though you are potentially right as far as him being checked out. Obviously, at the age of 36, you have to start making other plans. Like, for example, Charles Oliveira has also opened a gym, so that's not a good sign. But I still feel like his activity, I'll take his activity over Beneil Dariush's past two knockouts, right? Unfortunately. Um, Gaming Legend, I think it's a banger, but I got Moicano winning by decision. I think he will be more active, and at the end of the fight, he will still be going for the win. um, yeah, yeah, no, I fully agree with you. Gaming legend. I genuinely do agree with you. Um, it's just a close fight, so it's pretty hard to actually predict how it's going to go. I still feel like Moicano is going to get this one done, so I agree with you. Joshua McGee, he was low key catching Islam. I was in shock. Yeah, me too. I was like, what's happening? You know, I was a little bit worried for a moment there, and then obviously Islam came through and actually submitted him. Um, Gaming legend Dariush does hit hard also, so that's worrying. I agree, and even technique is there. It's not just hitting hard. That's why I'm saying at one point I actually believed that Dariush would have some type of a striking advantage over Oliveira. Obviously, I was wrong in that one, but still, that just goes to show that he is pretty well rounded. But obviously, Moicano is also well rounded, and he has been improving. And like I've been saying, what do you call it? Like I've been saying, he was doing pretty decently against Islam early. Obviously, it's the first round, and anyone is going to do really well in the first round. Champions are made in the second, third, fourth, and fifth round. So yeah. Shoshat McGee, but Benoit then relies on his chin and striking exchanges, and I think his chin is gone. Oh, Beneil Dariush. Yeah, yeah, no, that's true. I actually didn't think of it in that particular way. Um, Shoshat McGee, Beneil Dariush gets KO'd by staying in the pocket and giving one to take one. But Chin gone and Moicano has good footwork, yeah. And he has been improving, to be fair. Um, I don't want to make the stream too long. Yesterday I streamed for like 40 minutes for one stream. Renier the Lord ended up even coming back and apologizing for not joining me for other streams. So let's go to the next one, guys. Officially, my subscribers and I are going with Moicano. This is going to be a close fight. Striking wise, they are very evenly matched. Finishing ability, very evenly matched. Reach, same. Grappling abilities, more or less the same. It's gonna be a very close fight. Age, they are both 36 years old, so it's hard to say who's going to have an advantage where. But that's one of the reasons why I'm going to value activity a little bit more. I don't think experience is going to be that much of a factor, considering Moicano's last fight was against the champion. So experience shouldn't count that much, and especially because um, Dariush just got knocked out in his last two fights, and I mean Moicano won. I think was on a win streak up until he got finished. So yeah. Um, okay, man. Who you wanna pick? Ven versus Royval. The breakdown is available on the channel. You can watch my breakdowns. I already broke down Tuporia versus Oliveira, Pantoja versus Kai Kara France, and then I also broke down Royval versus Van. Right, even though my pick is Royval, I genuinely do feel like that's the fight I'm going to get wrong. A large part of me feels like Van is going to win that particular fight. I think the reach advantage, I thought it would have been more. Like, I expected the Royval to have like a 5-inch reach advantage, and it's only like a 3-inch reach advantage. I think grappling wise, I think Joshua Van is going to have the advantage. Striking wise, I think Joshua Van is slightly better. Um, I don't even know I'm picking Royval at this point. But yeah, I'm sticking with Royval. A part of me wants to change and go to Joshua Van. He's coming in on short notice. I think the experience factor in this particular fight is going to be very important. And despite the criticism that I have for Royval just beat Taduro Taira, who has exceptional grappling. Um, so yeah, I think experience will be a major, major factor. Fighting people outside the top five is a little bit different than fighting people in the top five. So if Taduro Taira, such an incredible grappler, couldn't do anything to Royval, I felt like Van might struggle. But the argument that I made when I broke down that fight, you guys are making me break down the fight, the Van fight on this fight, which is wrong. But the main argument that I had for Van yesterday when I broke down that fight was that I genuinely felt like Van is a better version of Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira is good on the ground, he doesn't have striking, right? And I think that's what gave Royval the advantage. Tatsuro Taira, if when he wasn't successful on the ground, it was extremely difficult to actually stand with Royval. Whereas in this situation, Van can stand with Royval and not even use the wrestling, and I still feel like Van might have a shot at actually winning that fight. Um, if he mixes it up and the right way, I genuinely feel like Van might actually win this one. But like I said, experience is massive in this particular fight. I think Joshua Van. Let me actually check. I think Joshua Van is ranked to something like 11. Rival um is ranked like number one. Yeah, Joshua Van is ranked number 12. Royval is ranked number one. Royval has fought some of the best, has beaten some of the best. I think he's beaten Brandon Moreno. He's fought Pantoja twice. He's beaten what do you call him? Tatsuro. Like he's been fighting pretty good, well-rounded athletes, and it's hard for me to overlook that, and it's hard for me to not to look at Joshua Van's ranking and think, shit, he's still young. I think he's still going to eventually become a champion, but I feel like this is a massive jump, especially because it took him 3 rounds to finish Bruno Silva. He looked sensational in that particular fight, but it's gonna be really hard to actually see how this fight plays out. I'm leaning towards Joshua Van purely because of skill, but I feel like the experience is so heavily on Rayval's side that it's hard for me to actually jump ship and go to Van. I'm breaking down the wrong fight on this particular card. Officially, my pick is Renato Moicano, guys. Like, guys, stop making me break down fights on a different fight. Like, the breakdown is available on the channel. Go to the live section and you'll see the breakdown. Shot McGee, Van Champ 2027. I could see that. Still young though. I still feel like maybe 2028, 2029 maybe. Shot McGee. Kai wins rematch versus Morano, then fights Van in 2027. Okay, I could see that. Admin, will the fight go the distance? Yeah, I think both are pretty skilled. They're pretty skilled enough. Even if I would see Van winning, I don't think he's going to be able to finish Reval. So I genuinely could see like a decision, to be honest. Either way, whoever wins, I think it's going to be a decision. If you're talking about Renato Moicano versus Beneil Dariush, that's a tricky one. Moicano is very is very aggressive. Um, and he tries to look for the finish, even though he can't get it. But they are so closely matched. I think it's going to go to a decision. I think their grappling and striking abilities will cancel out each other. And even if one of them has an advantage somehow, I think they are not going to be good enough to submit the other guy. So it's probably going to go to a decision. Ilya by submission. Do you see it happening? Possible. Um, Ilya Tuporia seems to have good wrestling, even though I've been criticizing him as far as not seeing enough of his grappling inside the UFC. It seems like his wrestling might be better than Charles Oliveira's. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But a submission is definitely possible because Ilya Tuporia has been speaking about finishing him in the first round. He hasn't been speaking as much about knocking him out, so it's possible that might be the case. Um, let me see if decision. John is gay. um, Kai man, if decision Van versus Royval, exactly Van win 100%. Okay, I could see that. Admin Kai Kara France plus 500 by KO is a good value, to be honest. Yeah, I do think Kai Kara France might actually win that fight. Um, Shosha Mickey. John is gay. Johnny calls car crash and police. Wow. He locked up, but they won't let him out. Locked up, he is gay now. Let me go to the next fight, guys. I think it's Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. If you want to join me, let's go to the next fight. Um, just click on the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Turn on your notifications. Um, let's go to the next fight. Deuces.